he came in town with 24,000 students. Now these students weren't regular students. These are the people that were part of the Gemara. These are the biggest chachamim in history. These people were giants in every way, shape, or form of Torah. Some of them were so significant they were able to bring back the dead. People that, the smartest sages we have in our generation, if you combine all of them, they weren't like one of these students. That's how big these students are. So these students, these Talmidim, made a mistake in their own level. Now a lot of people say that they had lack of kavod, lack of respect for each other. And that's mistranslated a little bit. Well, people think that they didn't like each other, they didn't have respect, like where they disrespected each other. But that's actually incorrect. What it is that it wasn't, obviously these people were sages, these people were giants in Torah. Disrespecting each other is not even part of their day-to-day thoughts. So it's not disrespect like we think disrespect. It's disrespect and lack of love for each other in a sense where they didn't care enough about each other to correct each other. Meaning that if someone said, listen, I'm going to do this mitzvah this particular way, and the other guy knew that he's incorrect, he's making a mistake, it's a minor error, he's supposed to, instead of doing it one way, he's supposed to do it a little bit different. Instead of making the extra effort to show him why and how and he's incorrect and things like that, they didn't do it. And this is unfortunately very similar to the current generation, where you have many rabbis that are saying, listen, telling people to keep Shabbat, telling people to, it's very, very important for them to keep Shabbat, telling people to keep kosher, meat and dairy, telling people that, the critical parts of Judaism are a necessity. They'll listen, I'm sure they'll find out, and if they want to do it, they'll do it. But to push them, to be a little bit annoying, to put a little pressure on people, no, we want to do it in a nice way. We want to show them the nice parts of the Torah, and if they see so many nice things about the Torah, maybe they'll stop driving on Shabbat to shul. Aside from the fact that we see that system does not work at all, there's maybe a 1% or 0.5% success ratio. Once in a blue moon, you're going to find somebody that drove to shul and now stopped driving to shul, but usually it's not as a result of that shul's effort, but as a result of circumstances that happen somewhere else. But aside from that, what they're doing is exactly our generation's level of why Hashem punished those 24,000 students, and for the next 32 days he killed between 700 to 800 of them per day. So imagine you have the biggest sage in the world, and now you have 24,000 of them. And every day the biggest Gdol Ador dies, and there's 700 of them dying every day. By the time you even thought about burying him, the next day you have to bury him, obviously, you have another 700 died, and another 700, another 700, another 700, every day for 32 days. Why? Because we didn't care enough about each other to rebuke each other and fix each other. Ocheach tochiach is one of the things that we learned from the sages, where it's our obligation. It's not a mitzvah, like it's nice to do it. It's our obligation to correct each other, but in a respectful way. So much so that we learn a lot of it in the, some of the things that some of the most important people in history. We know that if they didn't rebuke the nation, if they didn't make people do tshuva, you wouldn't even know who they are. So, for example, we go to the top. We go to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu obviously is the prophet of all prophets, the king, highest human being that we've ever had. Masechet Megillah brings a verse, talks about Moshe Rabbeinu, but before it talks about Moshe Rabbeinu, it talks about Batya. Batya was the daughter of Paro, who converted while Paro was in power, and when she went down to the river, that's when she saw the basket that Moshe Rabbeinu was in, and she raised them. She raised them in the house of Paro. And actually her name, Batya, means daughter of Hashem. Bat means daughter, Ya means Hashem. Hashem gave her that name. So it talks about Batya, but then it talks about how Batya had these 3 sons. But the Gemara specifically says that all 3 names are referring to Moshe Rabbeinu. Meaning it's 3 different nicknames that Moshe Rabbeinu had. One of those names is Gedol. Gedol comes from the root of the word in Hebrew, Gader. Gader is fence. Why fence? Because Moshe Rabbeinu fenced the breaches of Israel, meaning that he corrected the improper behavior of Am Yisrael. All of the improper behavior that they learned in Egypt, he corrected them. He was, Aaron, his brother Aaron, was, they say that he chased peace. He was always a chaser of peace, always constantly trying to make peace between people. Moshe wasn't necessarily looking for peace, he was looking for truth. You made a sin, this is the punishment. You made a mitzvah, this is what it is. It's black and white. Hashem said so, that's it. It's not, no games. Oh, Ilanu, if he was here today. Imagine a person that's speaking to God on a first name basis is getting noticed in those days for rebuking the nation. A nation that saw the words of Hashem and Shamayim. A nation that heard the words of Hashem. A nation that saw the miracles of Hashem on a daily basis for over 40 years. Food coming from Shamayim. This is not normal. Food coming from Shamayim every day. You don't have to work. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is learn a little bit of Torah. You have food waiting for you. You don't have to take a shower because the cloud that's following you is cleaning your clothes. It's like a washing machine on a regular basis. You're always clean. You don't have to worry about drinking. You don't have to worry about eating. You don't have to worry about going to the bathroom. They said that the man that we had in the desert was a spiritual food. In essence, such a pure food that all of it would be absorbed by our bodies and we wouldn't have to go to the bathroom. So this is just, again, one of the many miracles we saw. And even after all the miracles that we saw, after all the amazing things that we saw, there were still people that sinned. There were still people that were going against Hashem. There was still someone that we will read about soon that was the first Mechalel Shabbat. There was still Korach and his team and his people that were followers that tried to go against Moshe Rabbeinu. There were still people that sinned. And Moshe Rabbeinu is remembered not only as the leader, but this specific Gemara says that he's mentioned in another book of the Torah in Chronicles, the book of Chronicles 4:18. He's mentioned as another name. He is given 3 other names, one of them being Gedol, because he had the ability And he had the inclination and he had the wisdom to rebuke the nation and correct their behavior. So Moshe Rabbeinu, that showed them all the miracles, still needed to rebuke people, still needed to fix people, because or else they would just fall off too far off the derech. And that's obviously something that he didn't want happening.